Bam! Live pre-Thanksgiving Turkey Day show.
Ooh, Turkey
And
Day.
it has begun. The just on the other side of that wall, there's turkey preparation happening right now,
Nice.
as well as sweet potatoes, real sweet potatoes, not ones in the can, but real sweet potatoes are getting painfully chopped in there right now.
I
Good evening, Mr. Brown.
what's up, Dad? How did I
Good
know you?
evening, Sofa King.
How did I know you'd be here? How did I know you'd be here? Maybe it's because I called you earlier and you said you were going to be here.
I mean, who wants to miss out on pre-Thanksgiving Day talk, turkey talk from a couple of turkeys?
So last Thanksgiving, I went down to the paint store to grab some thinner, but it didn't work.
Did I miss something there?
Yeah.
Ah,
Went to the paint store to get thinner. Yeah.
What does a perverted frog say?
What does a perverted frog say?
Rub it.
Nice. Earl Moorhead, who's stuffing the turkey today? And what you stuff in it?
I saw Earl got himself a new big rock. I mean, what the heck, man? What the heck?
Was that one of those new, like the 4S or whatever, the 6S? Is it the 6S Big Rock?
I think it's 6S.
That's cool.
And it looks good. I mean, I like they got a bunch of like rear view mirrors on it and some stuff like that. That I mean, it makes it look cool. And
I just picture like Earl running this thing into a turkey for some reason. That's all I can think of right now. Is now he's just over there fucking running over his turkey with his.
I honestly tried to find turkey dad jokes, and they're just
no turkey dad jokes.
There's really just none out there. Buy one arm of 6S and you'll own all of them. Yeah, I noticed the body first thing, and man, it would make for a nice crawler body for a larger, maybe a SCX 10.6 or SCX 6.
What is it?
Big. I don't know if the body's big enough for that, but it's a good looking body.
I saw an Outcast body on a crawler one time that looked pretty good. Cape Cod in the house.
Hey, Cape Cod, what's happening? Did anybody watch Scale News Update?
What was on Scale News Update?
J Concepts has a new body coming.
Oh, really?
Yes. It's a throwback.
A throwback.
1985 Ford Aerostar minivan.
Okay. That was all we could get licensing to.
J Concepts just continues to. Now, I'm assuming that it's going to be a monster truck body.
Instantly, I think drift.
Like a drift body with
right?
a Ford Aerostar van would be kind of funny. Somebody with a good sense of humor. J Concepts just has. They have really odd bodies.
What's the van that travels around and they do sex in the back of it?
The van that they do sex in the back of?
There's a name. Oh, I wish I could remember it. That's what I put down the side of my drift van. There's a sense of humor.
All right.
What do they call that? The bang bus. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. The bang,
All right.
the bang bus. Oh my god.
Only the porn industry could come up with the bang bus.
It's either that or I got to put cash cab on it. I mean,
That guy is actually a really funny comedian, the Cash Cab guy.
mhm.
I saw him open for another comedian many years ago, and I was like, oh my god, this guy's, why is his talent being wasted on Cash Cab?
I feel the Big Rock body will fit the X Max perfectly.
Ooh, so it's big. So it's a big body. It might go on the SCX6
I
now.
got a big body.
Never mind.
Never mind.
Gonna,
Not gonna even touch.
yeah. So, if anybody remembers the 10th of September 2001, the day before 9/11,
Okay.
there was a big announcement that Donald Rumsfeld actually made in a press conference that the Pentagon had failed an audit and there was $2 trillion missing. They literally lost $2 trillion over at the Pentagon. Some people have said that was part of what happened, for 9/11 being an inside job, was the reason why World Trade Center 7, Building 7 went down was because that was the certain floors of that building was where a lot of the government accounting happens.
Okay.
And they needed the building to come down so that they could lose track of the money they lost track of.
Okay.
So I have just in my watchings of videos in the last few weeks here, Tucker Carlson was talking about 2024 is going to be a year unlike any year we've ever seen before.
All right.
People talking,
2024, but yeah. Go ahead.
he talked about, a lot of people are expecting some kind of event to happen in 2024 because it's election year. It's a big deal. It's a big election. There's so much division. So people are saying that we should expect to have some kind of 9/11 style event to happen. Terrorist attack, something like that. He actually pointed out an EMP.
Really, the YouTube won't let you talk about the White House getting burned. What is that about? Yep, then the White House got burned? What is that?
Yeah. Well, where this is all leading up to was...
I was going to say, yeah, where are you going with this?
Several days ago, there was an announcement made that the Pentagon has failed its 6th audit in a row. And there are multiple trillions of dollars missing. They don't know where the money has gone.
Good thing they didn't choose the Pontiac Transport.
J Concepts, if they've gone with the Ford Aerostar, there's definitely going to be the Chevy Astrovan's going to come at some point, and then the Toyota Previa is going to have to come at some point, because if they're going to start doing 80s and 90s minivans, you can't leave it.
I want like an old 80s Chevy Citation. Can I?
I think if there was enough interest in it, that J Concepts would make a Gremlin. They'd make a Gremlin body. Personally, I think Jason Rona is kind of a troll. I think he trolls a lot of people with some of J Concept stuff. But anyhow, yeah, I thought it was not strange, kind of scary that there's weeks and weeks of people talking about, scary things. Ooh, things are coming. And very reminiscent of 9/11. Oh, yeah, by the way, the Pentagon has lost trillions of dollars. We had no freaking clue where it's gone.
Dude's at the back door just handing it out like, hey, you want some money, man?
You get a billion. You get a billion.
We don't know where any of that's going, but would you like $100?
So, and oddly, after that announcement, you know what happened today? See what happens just in the last few hours?
I have not.
Suicide bomber ran into the border station at the Rainbow Bridge in Niagara Falls.
Nice.
The two people in a car blew themselves up.
Awesome.
So, hey, that open border policy at some points probably people are probably going to be going, maybe that wasn't such a good idea to just let whoever the fuck wants to come into our country. It was at 87 a month, an average of 87 captures a month that the Border Patrol catches of people who are on the terror watch list. 87 a month. It's just the one they want. Those are just the ones they want us to catch.
My squirrel brain thinks of boarding school, but that's where I learned to get on the plane.
Yeah, Mr. Brown the Fat is 100% right. The only thing uglier than a gremlin was the pacer.
Why would you want to go to New York? Love to go visit New York, but all the hotels are full.
Because
why are all the hotels full? That's scary.
They're full of illegal immigrants.
Oh.
Because all the people in California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas are pissed off that they won't stop the flow of illegals across the border. They've been pouring them into buses and shipping them off to places like New York. And you haven't heard the famous one where Ron DeSantis paid from his own bank account to fly a plane load of immigrants to Martha's Vineyard?
No, that's hilarious. So
just dumped them off Martha's Vineyard, and these people had a shit fit. Like, oh, hey, hey, you're the ones running around saying, yeah, we should allow everybody to come in the country, until they show up at your fucking multi-million-dollar estate front gate wanting a place to stay.
Right.
That night, they had them put on a bus and ferried out of Martha's Vineyard. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, at some point they're going to start looking back on it. Yeah, maybe that was a bad idea. That might not have been a good idea.
We have them in all the summer hotels right now. Everything is free.
So it's not free. We're paying for it.
Yeah, sooner or later the bill comes.
Evidently, when the bill comes to the Pentagon, they just stick it in a hole in the drywall.
For them.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I like that, Earl. 5-star hotels, 3 free meals and a house, and room cleaning.
And the funny part was, last week it was either Breitbart, it might even have been Fox was talking about. The city of New York was starting to cut off some of their freebie shit. Mm-hmm. And they're like busloads of people from Venezuela that were going back. They're like, we don't really want to be here that bad. We're going home. Like, wait, well, you were getting all that free shit. You were okay to stay here, but now that when the city of New York is complaining they can't pay for it because they don't have any money, now you're going home? Yeah. Smart business.
We got food trucks and people up here just to go buy them shit. Wow. I'm going to Mexico and tear up my IDs and then sneak back in and get a raise in standard.
That's funny.
You're gonna have to get a good tan while you're down there because you don't look Mexican at all. The whitest Mexican looking guy I ever saw. Thompson in the house.
Hey, what's happening, Thompson? Hey, how many emo kids does it take to change a light bulb?
You got me.
None. They just sit in the darkness and cry.
Oh. I never understood emo. I never got that because it's like, when did we go from being just fucking angry to emotional?
Doesn't Cross RC's new crawler, isn't it called the emo?
Yes.
It's just this sad, depressed crawler that just sighs a lot. I guess I'll go to the top of this hill.
That totally now that you say that totally explains the ExoCage video that I saw about the emo. I was like, dude, that truck looks so sad.
Did he put some black eyeliner on to do the video?
That would have been hilarious.
Yeah. Take care of next year's servants. Thompson, we are doing well. Thank you. Hope everybody is doing good today. Man, I hope everybody is as excited about Thanksgiving as this guy is. Because for the first time in like maybe 3 years, maybe 4 years, we're frying a turkey.
Woo! I'm going to Rich's house for Thanksgiving.
If you have not had deep fried turkey, holy crap.
And when he stops handing out free stuff, I'm going home.
Yeah, I mean, deep fried turkey is... And shout out to 805 Stickies because he was the one that got me started on fried turkey. I think it was probably like 10 years ago when it was just starting to become a thing. He went out and spent like freaking $300 on one of them giant propane burner fryer things. And he was like, oh, dude, you gotta try this fried turkey. It's not bad. I'm like, dude, deep fried turkey, how more fat American can you get? Are you frying Twinkies in it as well? And he's like, oh, no. And then he brought over a plate full of this fried turkey. And I was like, oh, what the actual fuck is going on here? This is not turkey.
I've heard that if you try to fry a frozen turkey, you'll get blast damage.
It'll kill you, pretty much. No, my turkey, we bought the turkey like last Wednesday or Thursday, so it has been thawing in the refrigerator since then. And I personally ripped the neck out, and it is completely thawed.
Brutal, but I like it.
Speaking of brutal.
Mexico will pay tax breaks you to marry their women because of the male shortage. Is that true?
Wow.
That's crazy. However, YouTube won't let you talk about that either, Cape Cod. Is that the second time you've been blocked?
Why the hell? What? Yeah, I guess because anytime you want to tell the truth about something that's rather inconvenient, YouTube doesn't want people to know.
10,000 points right off the bat to Cape Cod for being blocked twice, I think, this evening.
Yeah. You know, and another 10,000 points. So it's 10,000 points every time you got blocked.
There you go.
So, yeah, Earl, no shit. Last time we did it, I think we had it was pretty close to a 20-pound turkey, and it takes like 45 minutes to an hour to cook. And it is juicy and tender, and the skin gets all like pork rinded up on the outside. So, yeah. So I got another critter story
Oh, really?
Yeah, I already told you about what we had here.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So a few weeks ago, in the front room of the house, we heard some. Sorry, I forgot to pull my microphone forward. So is that better? Can everybody hear me now? Can you hear me now?
RC propaganda.
Hey, propaganda. So a couple weeks ago, we had heard some scratching in the wall. Now, we know what that means.
Right.
That means that there's a mouse or a rat in the wall. Unfortunately, it was in an interior wall of the house. So there wasn't a whole hell of a lot that we could do about it. When it kept happening, this was days of hearing this scratching. And as the days went on, it got a little bit more what sounded like panicked. Like whatever it was trying to get out and it couldn't. And then it stopped magically. So Saturday night, I go to bed. My wife is up watching TV. I get up Sunday morning. I go into the kitchen and I know that smell. That's a bad smell. This is really, oh no. I walk into that front room and that, if you've ever smelt it, you know that smell and you know how hard it slaps you in the face. Well, it slapped me in the face. And this, mind you, this is like probably 4:30 in the morning. Everybody's still asleep upstairs. And I realize now that there's a dead, rotting carcass in one of the walls, interior walls of my front room. So little Mr. Mouse got inside the wall, and he was evidently using the electrical conduit as a little highway, running around inside the wall. Mr. Mouse chewed on the wrong wire, and Mr. Mouse got electrocuted inside the junction box of the outlet. Now, I didn't know that, so I started cutting holes in my wall looking for the dead carcass.
It's like a surprise game. It's like, oh, hey, maybe here, maybe here.
So the first hole that I cut
smells more over here.
There's a pretty strong smell. I'm like, all right, I'm close. And I cut in there. So there's electrical box, and I cut a hole over here, and I got a stud.
It's like when you're looking for Earl in the dark.
I cut on the other side of the electrical box, and that's when the real strong. So I'm like, oh, it's in here. So I start pulling the drywall off and whatnot, and down at the bottom of the wall, because I'm down by the floor, at the bottom of the wall there's a little pile of bones in there. There's some spines in there, and there's some leg bones, and there's like 2 or 3 little mouse skulls sitting in the bottom there. And the smell is strong, but there's no carcass. But what there is a big giant splatter of blood and shit that is right behind the back of the junction box. So I'm like, oh, it didn't get inside there. Oh, it did. So I take the facial plate off, I pull it off, and I stick my head down there. That's when I got the real poof right in the face smell. But I also realized that, yeah, he had chewed on the wire inside the junction box, and it had literally blown his guts and shit out of his asshole.
Nice.
We've
all been there before. You know,
all
you've
over
been
the
drunk at a
inside
party
of that.
one too many times. Had you right out.
So yeah, that was what a majority of my day on this last Sunday was spent doing, was cleaning up that horror site because I had to turn the electricity off to all the outlets so I could take all of the wiring and everything out of the junction box, along with little mouse's dude's head that was basically stuck to the side of the wire because he had gotten a hold of the thing and it just and it just welded his face to it.
Jesus, Rich.
Clean all that up.
Ah.
Clean up the inside of the wall, get all of the crap sucked out of whatnot. And
Halloween's over. It's supposed to be Thanksgiving.
yeah. So then I got to drive to Lowe's because I got to get joint compound to patch the drywall up. I drive my happy ass over to Lowe's, get all of that, come home, and I'm patching up drywall, and I get to the point where I've got it patched up enough that my wife is like, no, look, you're done here. You've done fantastic. About an hour after that, I shit you not, I finished putting the drywall mud on. I haven't sanded or anything, but I've got it all smoothed out. I'm all proud of myself, like, hey, yeah, woohoo. An hour after that, fucking scratching sound inside the wall. Little bastard's buddy waited until I plugged that fucking hole up to go down and do the same goddamn thing, except he didn't electrocute himself. I had to cut a hole out. Cut the fucking hole out because I could hear him scratching in there, and I know he's in between two studs. So he's sitting there. So I cut the little hole out, and I put a little. I had some stainless steel mesh left over from the blocking I was doing on the Baja Ray. So I made a little like cup thing, and I stuck it over the fucking hole. And I just started banging around there until the little bastard jumped up into the cage. And I didn't realize I could do this, but you know them fly swatter, those electric zappy fly swatter things.
The story just gets better.
It didn't kill him because it's not strong enough to kill him, and it hurts like a son of a bitch because I'm holding the mesh. But it was just long enough to stun him so that I could pop the thing off and put a piece of cardboard over the top of it, and then take him outside and just fucking hook them out into the backyard.
You tasered a mouse.
Mm-hmm.
You just tasered a mouse.
It took me another hour to patch up that fucking hole. I had to patch my patch. So yeah.
Now I want to make a little mouse meme that says, "Don't tase me, bro."
So I text my buddy in California. Like, dude, my Sunday sucked ass. It just sucked ass. All day dealing with this shit. Now, my buddy is he is the manager of a fairly high-end mortuary. He's been in the business of death for, God, probably 20 some odd years. So he's had some really funny shit. So I told him, like, yeah, you know, little mouse blew his freaking guts out of his ass. About 30 seconds after I sent him that text, he calls me and he's like, man, I got a great story for your show. He's like, if you're going to tell the mouse story, you got to tell this story because this one's amazing. All right, lay it on me. He's like, so we got this little room that controls all these electronic wizardry, gadgetry things for our sprinkler system for the cemetery that's on site because it's all got to be. So a squirrel got in there, and evidently shit all runs on like super high voltage, not your basic 110. It's like all 220 and shit. So a squirrel gets in there and chomps down on the wrong wire, and he said it exploded. It just exploded the squirrel inside this room, and he's like, "Yeah, man, it was like walking into a fucking horror movie."
277 says Cape Cod.
Nice. So
What is
yeah.
that enough to kill you like 7 times over?
Yeah, because I mean, technically 110 can kill you.
Well, I'd say it's not even the watt, it's the volts or whatever. Yeah, I
It's
don't
not the volts that'll kill you, it's the amps.
know. Is it? All right. Somebody
Because
knows.
that's like volts is is the power, but amps is the flow.
Raise your
So
hand if you've ever shocked the shit out of yourself. Yep. Okay.
I was one of them kids that stuck a paper clip in the outlet.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I was cooking one time in a kitchen, and I was standing between a burner stove and an oven, and I had a metal spoon in my hand, and that spoon touched the burner stove and the oven at the same time. And I tell you what, there must have been a short in one of them, because the damn son bitch put me to the floor. Like it was like zapping, I was down.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine who was he built his own go-kart engines and whatnot, and at the time I was probably in my early teens, 13, 14 years old, and we would go over there and hang out and like work on race cars and shit. And I remember him handing me a spark plug with the wire attached to it. He was like, "Yeah, man, hold on to this for a
Oh
second."
yeah, here we go.
And he put the pneumatic impact on the boom, fired that thing up. Oh, what the hell? He's like, yeah. Next time somebody does that, you'll know to never hold on to it. Man, you're an asshole.
I did just look at you and be like, yeah, it's working. Any slate, brown, orange, yellow wires, stay away. That's good to know.
I'm getting the impression that Cape Cod knows some things about electric type stuff.
What's with the EC5 plugs, buddy? What's the deal? Fuck these EC5 plugs. Which ones are those? Are those the blue ones?
Well, the EC
I forget. Or are those the orange ones?
Are the same ones that are on the smart battery. They just don't have the middle little plug thing in it. But it's like the EC5, the EC7. It's got that like half round or round on one side and then a half round with a square on the other.
Can't
so
get
you
it.
Can only plug it in one way.
Huh? Motherfucker, that sucks. The old hand crank phone could fry your ass. Apparently, YouTube didn't want you to talk about that.
Yeah. I saw one of those hand crank phones, like World War II hand crank phones once.
Trying to solder them up, huh? I suck at soldering.
See, and that's the thing that it's why I like Dean's plugs. Still to this day, I still like Dean's plugs more than anything else, because you could solder them and then putting them together and pulling them apart. There wasn't a problem. That's the problem with the EC5s, the IC90s, and all of those is when you heat them up, the plastic expands and shrinks. And then when you go to plug the thing in, you got to have a pair of vice grips to pull them back apart.
And the only thing that I can say that helps is before you plug your battery in, if you take like a pair of needle nose pliers and kind of expand that out a little bit, just gently.
Yeah.
Then when you go to pull it back apart, hopefully it hasn't seized back together. But you got to do it every time just about until that kind of wears out a little bit, especially on the plug-in, because it's just, you just can't fucking.
Yeah, because I'm a terrible solderer. I tend to make everything like super, super hot, even though I got like one of them. It's like super fancy.
Yep, use your flux.
Temperature adjust.
But still, like, I can't, like, I solder. The thing to soldering is practice. Like, the more you do it, the better you are at it. No? Okay, well, Rich still sucks at it, but
maybe for some people, not me. I'm still crap.
I got better by taking old ESCs that I had, like the the stock motors and stuff that I pull out and redoing the ends on those, because who gives a shit? If it's a stock motor, it's like $12. You're gonna probably toss it in a drawer and save it until you absolutely need the thing for something. So yeah, I'd practice on that stuff for myself.
That's actually a pretty good idea because I got a whole bunch of those RTR.
Yeah, you probably have a whole drawer full of them, and it's like, I had to do it. I did like 3 or 4 of those before I actually did my own soldering on anything. And
I hadn't soldered any RC stuff for years and years and years when I got back into RC, like in 2018, 2019. And the first thing that I soldered was the A, B, and C wire from my Hobby Wing ESC to the motor.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the wire.
My race buggy. And it looked terrible.
Oh, got it soldered okay with these plastic, things.
A punch.
Makes a punch, huh? That's cool.
I got to look into that.
Well, I know there's cold soldering nowadays. I don't know if.
Which is for connecting wires. I love those things. It's a little shrink wrap tube that has a bit of solder in the middle, and then it has like 2 gum things that melt, and it seals itself to the wire. But you just take the 2 wires, you strip the end, stick them together. The tube goes over in the bit of wire. You just heat it up with a torch, and it melts the solder, and it creates a super strong little joint.
Huh.
And they're awesome. On Amazon, you can buy the whole box of them for like $12.
Well, I don't know if they'd work in RC I don't know how well
They work great. I use them all the time. But it only works for like connecting 2 wires together if you're splicing wires together. But if you're soldering to a post or something like that, you still gotta solder.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, because I used them a bunch when I was doing all the light wiring for the Phoenix, for the extra lights that I added in there, because I had to lengthen. I got the Vanquish light kit, then I added a bunch of other lights to it, but they're all super short. So I was splicing them together, and I'm just using them little. Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
I would like a crimp connector that could add solder. That'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, RC stuff. I can't tell you. I don't know what you're necessarily working on, but if it's a crawler, like that 2-in-1 Fusion Pro, oh my god, like I can't sell that enough. If you can get the Hobby Wing 2-in-1 shit, do it. Do it.
Yeah, to not have to worry about an ESC.
And they didn't pay me to say that.
Yeah, Propaganda got him a new Big Rock too. Propaganda and Earl rocking Big Rock. Nice. Oh man, I keep hearing the preparations going on in the kitchen. I know my wife was already not happy.
Oh yeah.
I personally don't mind it, like the canned sweet potatoes, but she's 100% against it. She's got to make sweet potatoes out of real sweet potatoes. I don't know if you've ever cut a real sweet potato. It's like trying to cut through a piece of granite.
Yeah.
So she is in there butchering away at hacking up sweet potatoes. My wife's a trooper. Considering that she'd never even heard of Thanksgiving until she came here, she's a trooper for hanging in there for Thanksgiving. What do you know what they called the lesbian dinosaurs?
But I got a guess, but go ahead. You're gonna tell me.
Licholotopus?
There you go. Do you play music? Do you ever play music? Did you ever? I know you rode bikes and stuff like that, but
Like as a musician?
yeah.
I was in the band in junior high for a year.
Oh yeah.
Played,
Megasaurus. Yeah, I was gonna say Licolotosaurus. Like
yeah.
there's a bunch of ones. You guys feel free to comment on any of them.
Megasaurus. Nice.
Did I tell you that I was in a band called Hinges?
Band called who to what?
Hinges. We opened for the Doors.
Oh, wow.
Bam.
What do you call a sleepwalking nun?
All right, lay it on me.
A Roman Catholic.
Oh, nice. I don't feel guilty about that at all either.
Hey, did anybody notice that Formula One had a race in Vegas this weekend?
Yeah, what was the deal with the drain? What the fuck is the deal with the drains on the Vegas track?
So this is not the first time it's actually happened. It happened a couple of years ago at the track in Baku.
How much money did they put into that track in the first place?
Formula One itself, the FIA, invested $500 million of their own money into the Vegas, and that was partly because they actually bought a piece of property where the VIP suites and the paddock pit lane buildings are all. They actually bought that piece of property so they could build all of that and that part of the track permanently. So that's just going to be there. Other than that, it is rumored that they in total spent about $40 billion in making that whole race happen, which wouldn't surprise me. It is Las Vegas, but yeah, the funny part is, you know, they typically go around and do a literal track walk, and it's a group of inspectors that just walk in a line all the way around the racetrack to look for things such as a drain cover that might get sucked up and destroy
somebody's
$250 million race car. They missed one, and it literally destroyed a $250 million race car.
It was a Ferrari. It was, as far
it
as
was
I know.
Carlos Sainz's Ferrari.
Yeah.
And it was, but here's the best part. That was 8 minutes into the first practice session.
Yeah, that's just it. Like it never even got off the ground. You guys.
So that was Thursday night.
Imagine being the guy behind him, though. That's what you know.
Well, they're actually
Carlos go over that fucking manhole and then all of a sudden just like explode. Like,
well, I mean, because it literally ripped off part of the engine. And there were cars that were behind him. There was actually a car, I think it was Esteban Ocon. It was one of the
I mean, you just
Alpine
got started.
cars.
You're out on Vegas. This is a great time. You guys are going to get racing. Here you go.
So the best part is each practice session you had to buy a ticket for. And ticket prices ranged from $250 all the way up to $2,000 for a seat to watch the first practice session.
I remember people complaining that, you know,
literally lasted 8 minutes, and then they decided they weren't going to.
They shut it down and didn't give anybody any information on, like, what was going to happen.
Specifically told everybody, you ain't getting your money back. Tough shit. By then, they had sold tickets for the second free practice session, which had to be delayed for several hours until like 4:30 in the morning, because all of this is happening in the middle of the night. Because you would think the people that live in Las Vegas and putting all this on, they know that November is traditionally not very hot. And the reason why they put the race on at night was because 40 years ago they put a race on at the Caesar's Palace parking lot, and it was like 115 degrees outside.
Ooh.
And they had thousands of people that got heat stroke and heat exhaustion that day, including most of the drivers. Like half of the cars dropped out of the race because the drivers were passing out.
Fuck yeah.
Because they did this race like in the middle of July in Las Vegas, of course. So now, but you'd think, everybody that lives around Las Vegas knows that November is not the hottest month. So they decided to run the race in the middle of the night. And the practice sessions, everything. So they started free practice session 2 at 4:30 in the morning, which is 2.5 hours after it was originally supposed to be run. And only about half the people who had bought tickets knew.
Oh, wow.
So they showed up.
I didn't know all that. I knew it was a flop, like the whole thing.
So basically the first night, shit show, absolute shit show. YouTube and all the F1 people went batshit crazy talking about, we've been saying it for weeks. We've been telling you this is a fucking waste. It's stupid. Goddamn ridiculous. Retarded Americans can't do anything right. You have this whole boondoggle with, all this waste of money and all this bullshit, blah, 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 going to fucking town about how terrible it is, how terrible it's going to be, just shitting all over it. Shitting all over it, left and right. Fucking guy, pissing and moaning. Saturday night, race starts off 12:30 at night. I mean, it is Vegas. People are up all night, so it's not that having the race in the middle of the night is that big of a deal. It's cold. You see everybody's walking around, and it's fucking cold out. Turns out, well, I watched most of the race was fucking awesome. It was an awesome race. There, Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez traded passes for the lead several times throughout the race.
I don't think nobody's going to remember that. Everybody's going to remember the fucking manhole cover getting sucked up into a Ferrari.
And that's the tragic part, because everybody who
the Chris move, the outside wall move, nobody remembers the race or what happened. Yeah,
nobody remembers the race that Ross Chastain did the video game move. All they remember was
who won that race. Who won it? Does anybody? I bet my dad might know, but
yeah, unfortunately, nobody's going to remember that. That the race was actually, the racing was awesome. The track proved to be a great layout.
Because I never even heard about all that. I knew the track was sick. I mean, I knew the track was sick, but
the front straight. Well, I guess it's not the front straightaway, but it's the main straightaway that goes down the strip. I mean, you're talking like a ridiculous backdrop for race.
Right.
There's nobody's ever seen anything like that ever, because nobody's ever raced down the middle of the Las Vegas Strip ever. And I was impressed at the end of watching it. I was like, shit, dude, this is a bitchin' deal. And the people of Las Vegas who whined and bitched and complained about the traffic and this and the construction and blah, 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 shut up already. You had on race night, they estimated, because they don't know exactly, because there's so many places to watch the race from, they estimated that there was over 100,000 people watching that race. The biggest single event that Las Vegas has ever had. They were all complaining about, these Europeans are going to come over here and they don't know about the tipping culture of U.S. and Bellagio Hotel. Bellagio Hotel was along the main straight. They had blocked off the fountains and everything. Everybody pissed and moaned about it. There is a story The guy is a photographer, like a licensed photographer for F1, and he was writing a story about his experience on the week leading up to the race there.
Okay.
And one of the team primaries. So this would be the head guy of one of the teams. Most of them, if you know F1, you know the real pop. Toto Wolff is the primary for Mercedes. The guy that married the Spice Girl is the head for Red Bull. Christian Horner. Fred something French is the head of Ferrari right now. One of the team primaries or team principals went into the Bellagio during the week, and he was not staying there or anything like that. He just went in there and he was gambling, and he dropped a $50,000 tip at one of the tables that he was sitting at. And the photographer's like, yeah, everybody was talking about the tipping culture and everything. He's like, why is it that all Americans think that us Europeans don't know about the Americans' tipping culture? We all know about it. We think it's ridiculous, but we know that you guys tip ridiculously, because when you come over here to Europe, you give everybody free money all the time. Of course we know about the tipping culture. So they're like, it's kind of a dumb argument that we didn't know that we were supposed to tip people and whatnot. And he's like, here's a perfect example of a guy that is not from the United States, comes over and drops a legendary tip because he was having a good time and he's got that kind of money to throw around. But yeah, I thought it was very
interesting.
I thought it was
so I got to comment on some of these things. Go ahead. I don't mean to cut you off.
What's up, Jesse? I thought it was very entertaining at the build up to the Vegas F1 race. And I haven't really talked about it. And it was specifically because I was afraid it was going to be a shit show. When I heard about the manhole cover flew up, when I heard about that, I was like, oh, it's over. This is going to be a one-shot deal.
Right.
I'm going to stay up. I'm going to watch the thing live because it's never going to happen again. And I was pleasantly surprised. Like, shit, dude, this is a freaking awesome race. And yeah, for me, I had to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch the race live. But people over in Europe got to watch it at basically the normal time they would get to watch races over there. And people in Vegas, they, like anybody in Vegas, goes to bed at midnight.
Right.
Everybody's up all night in Vegas. You don't sleep in Vegas. That's not why you go there. So who gives a shit if the race is run in the middle of the night?
Makes sense, man.
But I just thought it was great that that Formula One for once shut everybody up. Kind of shut everybody up. Like, oh yeah, you know what? We actually can have some pretty decent races.
The spectacle before the race was the best. That's what we were just talking about. That's what we're. And I don't mind talking about. I just wanted to mention that propaganda. It takes propaganda about half of the shit that needs to be said show to solder if you need anything soldered. So if you go over to his house, you'd be like, you can watch about half the show with me. I'll have this done for you. Jesse's welded the ass end of the world shut, and he's able to be here.
What's up, Jesse? Hey, I did want to mention something because I saw somebody mention this in their live stream, and I thought it was actually like to mention something about the people who come back and watch the not live of this. Thanks, man. You know what? 10,000 points to everybody who pops in here to watch the show when it's not live, because I know it's a jacked up time for the West Coast. It's kind of a jacked up time for the East Coast. It's a jacked up time for everybody, pretty much except for me.
What did we say? We hosted in the middle? In the middle. We're in the very middle.
We're in the middle of the middle. Of the middle.
It's like being at the equator and pouring water. Did you know I read an interesting fact? Ants never get sick.
Really?
It's because of their little antibodies.
Do you know what they call bees that make milk instead of honey? Boobies.
Who doesn't like a good booby joke?
Yeah, I mean, what you said it right there. 500 points for me for booby joke. Yeah, I was just pleasantly surprised. And on the dirt track front, the basically dirt track racing is wrapping up. The last few races that are happening now is all the USAC midget stuff that's all on the West Coast, because tonight they're in Ventura doing all the practice stuff for tomorrow, which is the Turkey Night Grand Prix, which is a very historic race that originally started back in the 50s at Ascot Park. But Ascot Park closed in 1992 because it was in the middle of Los Angeles, and you can't have dirt tracks in the middle of Los Angeles. And every big name racer that you can remember, from Indy cars, Formula One through the 60s, 70s, and 80s, they all raced in the Turkey Night Grand Prix every year. A lot of them have won. So yeah, tomorrow night we got the Turkey Night Grand Prix. But leading up to the Turkey Night Grand Prix is over the weekend. There's always the Hangtown 100, and kind of an interesting Hangtown 100 this year. NASCAR guy by the name of Kyle Larson hasn't run a midget all year. Hadn't even sat in a midget all year. Loaded up his midget from North Carolina, drove his happy ass out to California, went out and smoked the shit out of everybody in the Hangtown.
Nice.
And I have to give props to Kyle Larson, because he is a phenomenal dirt track racer. Also happens to be a NASCAR champion, 2021 NASCAR champion. But he's a generational talent dirt track racer. Generational talent. These kinds of guys don't come around very often. And Kyle, he got in trouble in 2020. Some of you may have heard this. He's big into like the iRacing and sim racing scene. And
I like sim racing.
He was racing with a bunch of his buddies, and they were live streaming it. And he got wrecked, and he called one of his friends the N-word.
Whoops.
And he lost his NASCAR ride. He was done at a NASCAR. So he went home. Now NASCAR, his team fired him.
I take it the N-word wasn't nice person, huh?
No. He got fired, lost his ride. He's at a NASCAR, goes home, doesn't know what he's going to do, builds himself a sprint car, goes on a World of Outlaw winning streak that nobody has seen since the Steve Kinser era. I know a lot of you don't know dirt track. Steve Kinser is the most proficient sprint car racer in history. 20 sprint car championships. Nobody's come even close. Donnie Schatz is second with 10, and then Brad Sweet just won his fifth. Steve Kinser, legendary. Nobody has seen a win streak like what Kyle did in 2020 in the sprint car ever. I think it was something like 24 races in a row. Never happened before. Went through sensitivity training, all of that, and then the off-season comes. During the off-season, he gets hired by Hendrick Motorsports to drive the number 5 car, goes out in 2021, wins the NASCAR championship. Crapped on everybody. Was, like in the last race when he had officially won the championship, he was balling and in there, like, a year ago I was lost, and and I had to go through all of that so I could find myself, and blah 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 blah, blah, vanilla NASCAR driver bullshit. But inside he was thinking, that's right, fuckers. I did your sensitivity training, then I came back and I kicked out your asses. Suck it, butt snacks. But anyhow, Kyle came out in a midget and just beat the tar out of everybody, which there was a bunch of really talented drivers out there.
How can you suck it soldering and be an electrician? What the hell?
I'm not an electrician.
No, this guy, Mr. Sofa King.
Horizon definitely puts an EC5. I hate buying new electronics and then cutting connectors. I suck at soldering too, and I'm an electrician. You need to you need to channel your inner Mike Cock, and that will help you be a better solderer. See that, Sofa King, that's my thoughts on soldering. I always like jam that thing up to as hot as it'll go, because I'm thinking like the faster it gets hot, the faster it'll solder shit together. The more hot it is, the faster shit gets soldered together.
I mean,
bro.
I'll melt shit, and yeah, that sounds great. I think that it's not necessarily how hot the solder, because that can be super hot, right? That's not my thought. My thought is the wires, because that's what seems to happen when it's super hot. Like the wires inside will get stiff, or that solder will go down inside the wire when it's that hot. So you got to put little like sponges on each side to keep it cool, so it doesn't do that. But yeah, you can crank it up, right? I'm not very good at that shit either. Find any good deals on RC cars? What are you looking for?
I have not looked, but I know Horizon is usually pretty fantastic with their Black Friday deals. And I was getting ready to look this afternoon, and I got distracted. I was going to look at A-Main's Black Friday deals, because A-Main usually has some pretty good ones as well.
You just want Black Friday deals, or are you looking for? It helps if you give us like a specific rig we can go look for, man. I'm not gonna just Google Black Friday deals for you.
So you can get a Vanquish Fordyce for $399.99.
How much are they normally?
$459.99. So it's $50 off.
It's not bad.
A Kyosho Mini Z MX-01 Jeep Wrangler, $118.99. Normally $139.99. So that's not as good a deal.
You're seriously gonna sit here and read off A-Main prices though?
No. I'm just scrolling through. Those were the most interesting ones. The rest of them, like, who really wants to buy an Orlando Hunter?
I'm really good at hunting stuff down. Like I said, if you're looking for something specific, if you just want a deal on something, you can get a deal anywhere.
Also, freaking Amazon, man. Amazon has got ridiculous Black Friday deals right now.
That was the thing I hear. So I'm looking for a new Xbox this year, and I hear that on Black Friday, the Xbox on Amazon is going to be the lowest price anywhere.
The X is going to be, I believe, it's going to be $100 off.
Yeah,
and the S, I think, is going to be like $80 off. And then they have a bundled X that is going to be, I think it's the Diablo bundle.
Yeah, I've seen that bundle.
Xbox and Diablo and another free game, and it was like $485 or something.
Around $500, I think. Yeah.
And that's a pretty small deal considering the games are $70 a pop. So you get 2 free games.
Diablo did not turn out well though with critics. You know that, and I don't want to go off on a video game tangent with these guys because they hate it when we start talking about video games.
I could go on a rant about Call of Duty. Freaking Call of Duty.
I know I wanted to mention
the reason why it's duty.
Did you hear about these people who got arrested for laughing out loud in Hawaii?
No.
Apparently, it's Aloha State.
I should have known that one. I should have known it. Did you hear about the new website for orphans? It has no homepage. I know it's a little rough right before the holidays, talking about orphans and all, and doing jokes about orphans.
What's his name with the little cane? in Scrooge. You know, that's who you just reminded me. Timmy, little Timmy,
Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim. Fuck, man. What about Tiny Tim?
But technically, Tiny Tim's not an orphan.
Well, no, yeah, he wasn't an orphan.
He was just debilitatingly handicapped. Hey, Ed, did everybody see that? Remember the whole virus thing, and then there was the whole vaccine mandate thing for a whole bunch of people, including the military. If you're not vaccinated, you can't be in them. And so, like, they wouldn't recruit anybody that wasn't vaccinated. The Pentagon is sending out letters to everyone they rejected for being not vaccinated now, because the recruiting numbers are absolutely dismal. Just saying.
What can you do? You know.
How much more shitty of a job does Joe Biden have to do with everybody on the planet that is a Democrat jumping up and down to defend this guy and swear up and down that Donald Trump is literally the devil and he's going to destroy the earth, he's going to bring upon Armageddon? How much worse do Democrats and Joe Biden have to do at running this country before people go, hey, maybe you people are full of shit?
He just got the helping hands. Good. The jig will help you solder, definitely, if you don't have one of those. It's hard, man. It's hard to solder without the little helping hand jig.
You know, I have the little helping hands, but I also have this little aluminum block that Hot Racing makes that has the specific size for like Dean's plugs and IC5s and all of that stuff. It has it machined out so that you can stick the plug down in there when you want to like tin the plugs themselves. Yeah, the block is I use it probably half and half, about as much as I use the helping hands. Especially for connectors, because like I said, you just drop the connector in the little slot and you can push the pins into it, and then you can tin it right there, and then you just hold the wire
using pliers. And that's so, like, I've used vice grip needle nose pliers and stuff to hold wires, and I've done all kinds.
I've watched guys solder wires with their bare hands.
That's some MacGyver shit.
I'd be like, I'm like, how the hell do you do that? It burns the shit out of me every time. And then, your wire is supposed to go in the connector like this. I'll like be trying to hold the wire, and then it'll burn me, and then I'll like jerk my hand, and then the wire is soldered on like that. It's all freaking wonky and coming out sideways. And then I'm like, yeah, screw it, dude. I just drove the car that way.
You know what? I'll just throw some electrical tape over that.
Yeah. I've gotten them so wonky, like, I'll remember to put the shrink tubing on the wire before, and like slide the shrink tubing down, and then it'll be so wonky the shrink tubing won't even go over it. So then I'll just jam it down as far as I can, so it's like just stops right here, and then I'll just and leave the bare part out. Yeah, who cares? Yeah, I wish there was some soldering guru would come up with some like, hey, anybody can solder now because I made this thing. Here you go. You just buy this thing and you can solder like a pro. I want.
You can solder like RC Propaganda.
I need one of those.
It needs to be said, show, and you'll get it done.
I want. So any of you soldering gurus out there, come up with that thing, and I will gladly buy one. I will gladly pay $49.99 for something like that.
suppose racehorses slow down when they see police horses?
I don't know.
Thinking out loud there.
Ah. What do you call a toothless bear?
Yeah.
Gummy bear.
Nice.
That's kind of a crap one. That one's kind of crap.
Go
But
on.
I mean, they can't all be top shelf. Yeah.
Right.
You can't appreciate the good unless you get some
Unless
of the
we
bad.
get some of the really good ones, the really bad
Yeah.
ones, the really good bad ones.
Man, what else is it? What else?
Oh, you're basically a pro now. Oh, well, good. Well, like I said, we'll just send all the soldering your way.
Yeah.
That'll make sure that you're sitting here watching the show every Wednesday.
I have resorted to buying the pre-soldered connectors. So like you can buy them on Amazon that has the, like 6 inches of wire connected already soldered to the
It's like
to the
I
plug.
cheat. You're
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid
actually
to admit
supposed
that I cheat.
You're not actually supposed to lengthen the amount of wire. You know that, right? I'm gonna. You shouldn't actually take it and make it longer. You lose energy over that distance, right?
I don't know. Don't touch the red to the black. That's what I know about electricity.
It's just like as if you fucking plugged in a goddamn power cord into your house that's 100 foot long and then went out and tried to run a skill saw at your woodshed. You're gonna, when you hit the throttle on that thing or whatever, it's gonna have about 75% power because that power's got to run down that cord. The only reason I bring this up at all, and the only reason I mention this, is because I did have to extend the wires on the motor that I had for my Creighton, because I put an 8S motor in a 6S Creighton. Well, I had to make those wires longer because, the way that, it sat in there, I couldn't get it to sit right without having, and I was told at that time, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't take a motor like that's got that much power and then try to lengthen those out. And I was like, well, I'll do whatever the fuck I want, and still did it. But I don't know. I don't think it matters. I think in an RC car, really, I think what you're losing over the amount of space that we're talking about isn't like.
Well, I do know because I used the wrong gauge wire on my race buggy.
Okay.
And one of the guys at the track actually told me, he's like, no. You have to use this gauge because it allows maximum power to flow. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. And he's like, yeah, it's like putting a bigger fuel line in your gas tank so you can draw more gas. So I was
right.
Like, oh shit, okay. Yep. So it makes sense. The longer your fuel hoe is, fuel hoe. The longer the fuel hose is,
that might be the best original one all night.
The more sucking it takes to get from one end to the other. That was where the real joke was coming in, but I preempted my joke with another joke. Double whammy. That's how I roll.
I'm gonna need some therapy from one of those.
Yeah, if anybody would like,
never mind.
If you need to talk, you can contact me if you're feeling bad or sad.
I don't even want to go there. Oh my God. Contact me. Yes. Reach out and tell me about your problems, please.
Yeah, because all the world knows that talking about your problems is what solves things.
Sorry.
I think that there's been too much emphasis put into the new religion of psychology and psychiatry. It's a bunch of freaking malarkey is what it is. Toughen up. Suck it up, Sally.
Sex and drugs solve my problems. Oh, I like that one.
See?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Well, see, I got approached by somebody, and I'm not gonna say who out loud, but I got approached by somebody who was like, "Hey, if you need to reach out, it seems like you're angry and you've been overlooked. If you need to reach out and talk, you just call me up. I'm right here. You just go ahead." It's like, this person isn't like a certified psychiatrist or anything, and I'm not sure why I'd be telling them my problems, but
Yeah, because, hey, random person that reached out to me out of nowhere that like wants to become my new shrink.
I just want to mention that, first of all, I mean, I'm fine solving my own problems. That's fine. I appreciate you. I do have help. I'm good. Thank you. And then promptly go fuck yourself.
I mean, we don't need help. We got all you guys. We deal with all of our shit every Wednesday night.
Fuck, right here. It happens every Wednesday with sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
What other RC shows have Mike Cox and Sofa Kings running around in their chat? None. Bunch of losers. You only dream that your RC show could be as good as ours. On your best night. On your best night, you wish.
Anywho's niche. I move on.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Goofy ass people that wanna like reach out to
Thanks
totally
for that message. Thanks for being concerned. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Weirdo.
Yeah, because you're 12.
I tell you,
really need somebody to talk to.
You know what else gets a lot of attention? Is being in debt. It really gets the interest of bankers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm getting shit over here in the studio about the horrible jokes.
Hey, there's no bashing on the dad jokes from the peanut gallery. Oh, damn it. I kind of jacked up my back doing all the drywall work.
Yeah, lifting those dead mice, I understand.
Getting old sucks ass. It sucks ass. It's just all there is to it. You wake up in the morning and like I'm achy getting out of bed in the morning. Like, you remember when you're young, you get up in the morning and you're like, woohoo, I'm ready to go.
Drinking Bud Light was never cool. It was never cool. It was never cool in the first place. The only reason I did it was to piss off right-wingers.
Yeah. But Bud Light isn't cool again. It can't. I mean, I know the champ has his face on the Bud Light can. I don't know if you saw that, JB.
But
the champ, RC Propaganda, he's got his own Bud Light can now.
Does he?
Yeah. So he's like trying to bring sexy back. Propaganda is kind of like the RC.
I still drink it just to piss off the rest of the RC community. Young, you wake up with a pop, and then you're rolling out of yeah. It's like you remember when you used to have to go out and start the car at least 30 minutes before you drove it? Same thing happens when you get out of bed.
I grew up in California. I never had to do that.
Oh, really? We never did that. No,
we didn't have to worry about that because it's like always 70 degrees in California. I know that now because I've forgotten to put my car in the garage at night here.
I don't know what you've got on your notes list, but I did want to ask these guys if they're looking forward to this Thanksgiving or if they want to run away from it or if they're... I mean, how many people are excited about Turkey Day?
Yeah.
I know Rich is.
I'm super excited because I've been for like a couple weeks now when I told the wife, like, we're doing fried turkey. We're frying a freaking turkey this year. I'm on it. I've been freaking geeked about that for a couple weeks now. And tomorrow's the day. I spent like 45 minutes today just cleaning the turkey fryer.
Yeah, Wish got that Bud Light spawn. You're absolutely right, man. I'm just saying it was never cool to drink it.
Before the show, we've talked about it before, like, people bringing the freaking virtue signaling and all the shit into, hobbies and whatnot. Yeah, I kind of think of beer drinking as that. Beer drinking it's kind of a hobby for some people. Some people come home every day and have a beer or maybe two. And the Bud Light was the number one selling beer in America for forever. And because of virtuous signaling, they just you shit on an American institution. Anheuser-Busch, the Clydesdales, like every year at Christmas, the Bud Light commercials, Coors Light commercials, Miller Light commercials. If you grew up in the 80s and the 90s, those commercials were freaking legendary. And that's what made those brands what they are. It's kind of like the polar bears and Coca-Cola and Santa Claus and because some asshole that works at Bud Light decided that they wanted to virtue signal, they crapped on all of that.
It used to be cool. Yeah. Like, we could go back, I don't know how far, 7 years or so, and things used to be fucking awesome. Now that seems like shit really fucking sucks.
It would be nice if everybody could just start leaving some shit alone. I know we're not going to talk about video games, but video games are another. It's just something that's fun to do, and leave all your bullshit out of it.
And they're adding it to the games now. Now you can have transgender characters and this and that and the other, and it's like, look, my God, whatever. I thought the game was to get out of the real world. Like Mario, I don't care what the fuck is in Mario's pants as long as Mario jumps to the next fucking block.
Yeah, and I think we're getting to a point now where we need to just politics needs to get dropped out of a bunch of shit. Just needs to get dropped out of it, and social activism and all this other bullshit. There's some areas of life that it just needs to, stop, go away, leave it the fuck alone. Movies, video games, fucking hobbies.
I swear, dude, if I see one more pink truck on the trail, I'm going to pick it up and punt it like a fucking football.
I mean, like fucking Colin Kaepernick, this no talent fuckstick that couldn't pass his way out of a paper bag in the NFL. He had shit stats for the last 2 years that he played in the NFL. And he knew he was on his way out, so he decided to become a fucking political activist and kneeling during the flag. Now this guy just pisses and moans about how everybody in the NFL hates him because he's black. No, nobody wants you to play for their team because you suck, period. It's got nothing to do with your politics. Yeah, you know what? A bunch of people were pissed off at you for kneeling, but nobody really gave a shit. If you were winning Super Bowls left and right, if you were Patrick Mahomes, you could run around with your freaking dick hanging out during the national anthem and people wouldn't give a shit. As long as you were winning Super Bowls, it wouldn't fucking matter. But you stunk. And then you made a big stink about you stinking and not being able to play in the NFL. Tough shit. It's a very small percentage of people that get that privilege. Sucks to be you. But
I feel your propaganda.
Oh yeah.
I'm with you because it's like one of those things, man. It's I like the technology and where we've come, but it's kind of a double-edged sword for us too. Where I like to go back, I think a lot of people would like to go back to a certain point. I mean, yeah. I'm sure that 98, might be, I do a couple great things in 98, but I mean, I'm sure some of the older even farther back, or I think the 60s and 70s were probably a pretty good fucking time, depending on where you were at and what you were doing.
Yeah. I
Uh,
mean, it sucked for some people, but it was pretty freaking awesome for others. But the same could be said for now. Pretty
yeah,
awesome for some people, sucks for others. I mean, it's probably now it sucks for a lot more people than it is great because shit, you can't do anything. But I agree, Propaganda in '98 was a great freaking year. Great year. I'd like to go back to when we could smoke cigarettes on the airplane and in restaurants.
or at least inside, maybe. Like, yeah, back in
Just
the bar, at least at walk over to the bar and able to have a cigarette.
yeah. I mean, it it fundamentally changed the bar scene in California when they banned cigarettes from being smoked in the bar. Because I remember when it happened. Because one week, Friday night, we were at our local bar, McGinty's, playing pool, me and my buddies, smoking cigarettes. And the next week, we had to walk outside to smoke cigarettes. It freaking sucked ass. It's stupid. I can also remember when I was a kid, because they stopped cigarettes on airplanes before I actually started smoking. But I can remember when I was a kid, we were flying to Florida to visit my grandparents, and my sister and I got to sit in the middle seats of the plane, and my mom and dad were sitting in the window seats. And in the third seat right next to me was this old guy that was smoking cigarettes the entire flight. And I remember when we got off the plane and we're walking and we sat in my grandfather's van. My grandmother turned and she's like, "Were you smoking on the plane? You smell like an ashtray." It's like, no, but I was sitting next to a guy that was smoking on the plane. Yeah.
Or smoke outside anywhere in California. City banned smoking cigarettes, but weed's okay now. Yeah, Earl. That's
It's
right.
amazing. It's
I'm gonna
amazing
don't
that
make me come smoke on your lawn. Don't make me be a hippie.
the health Nazis in California that if you light up a
Actually, can I
cigarette,
come
they'll damn near throw you in jail. But you can walk around with a joint, smoke anywhere you want. It's like,
That's actually illegal because you're getting fucked up in public. As far as I know, that's still public intoxication. You can't just walk around and get high.
And yet in California you can.
Well, I mean,
Everywhere you go,
it's
you
not
smell
like I haven't. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I mean, I'm not preaching that that's a good thing.
Hey, you know how they talk about, people cleaning up real nice and whatnot. You special event, and you shave, you put
Sure.
put your suit on and whatnot. San Francisco. Did anybody see what San Francisco did when the president of China came for a visit?
Well, I know you told us they kicked out all
the streets were freaking immaculate. Like they painted, they cleaned up graffiti, they cleaned up everything. Not only that, they had United States Marines at the White House when he went to visit Joe Biden, United States Marines that were holding the Chinese flag. Pretty sure that somewhere there's something written about how our soldiers are not allowed to carry a foreign country's flag. That's our flag. That's the only one they should be holding. Not, hey, go China. Most people that aren't like super silly realize that they're really like, they want to go all the way up to the elbow with it here. Screw you guys. Earl, here in Tennessee, vaping is treated pretty much the same as cigarettes now. They don't. There are a lot more people here that smoke. Like where in Ventura, in California, it was getting to be pretty rare to see anybody smoke.
Well, and I don't know what it's like down in Denver itself proper, but I mean, it kind of depends on where you're at and what you're doing. But as far as I know, Colorado still treats it pretty much like, hey, you can't do that necessarily outside. Like, it's not cool.
Yeah, California. I
There's one
remember.
day a year, what, 420 or something like that, where everybody gets away with it because it's mob mentality. But I
Yeah.
mean,
No, I remember the last time we went to. Oh, actually, both. The last time we went to Chinatown in Los Angeles, and the last time we went to Little Tokyo in Los Angeles. Little Tokyo being worse than Chinatown. No matter where you went, you smelt weed. Walking around, no matter where we went, you could smell it. And it was like, man, guys, look, I get it. I get that it's legal now, but
how chink do you need to be?
well,
No,
and
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was mean of me.
And propaganda. I have a hard time with cigarette smell now, and I smoked for 20 plus years, and I have a problem with it now because it's. I never liked smelling other people's cigarette smoke, even when I was smoking, which it's kind of weird. But here, a lot more people still smoke here, which I was kind of surprised. When we first moved here, I was kind of shocked when I would see like regularly people walking around smoking cigarettes or driving around smoking cigarettes. Like, man, there's a lot of people who freaking smoke here. It's crazy. But yeah, California with their smoking stuff is it's kind of ridiculous because they're completely hypocritical about it. Like, oh, cigarette smoke is so unhealthy for you, but smoke weed wherever you want. Like, man, do you realize that?
I think now I don't. I mean,
Man,
like I said, I think it's one of those things you just need to be responsible. It's like, hey, look, if you're gonna go smoke weed, maybe you should go smoke weed where somebody isn't standing. Like where people aren't necessarily around all the time.
well, I mean, my thing is, if it's legally recreational, that's fine. It's like booze. You don't just walk around with a bottle of freaking Jägermeister on the streets
Yeah.
unless you're a homeless person and you just.
Well,
But
even so, I mean, even if you're homeless, you can still be polite about it. You tuck that son of a bitch in a brown bag. You keep that son of a bitch under your coat, and you take sips when you need. Hey, yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
propaganda. It is. It's about politeness, and it's about just common courtesy, which we've talked about it before. Common courtesy is out the freaking window. Nobody gives a shit
Yeah,
about
nobody
it.
gives a shit about fucking.
It's always gonna.
It's like every once in I love it. Every once in a while, I'll open the door for a person or a lady or something. Like, oh my god, thank you, and I'm like, shit, yeah, people still do it, everyone.
I yeah. I don't.
I don't mean to. What did you have for dinner the other night?
Me, I have no idea.
You don't remember?
I can tell you what I had dinner tonight.
What did you have for dinner tonight?
I had Texas fajitas.
Damn.
Chicken, steak, and shrimp.
What?
Yeah.
Damn.
Show nights, and especially show nights before Thanksgiving, so basically once a year, we Grubhub the Santa Fe Mexican Grill to deliver food. Because I know my wife was going to be in there busting her butt in the kitchen for a bit tonight and for tomorrow. So it's kind of like, hey, babe, why don't we just, so you don't have to make dinner, you don't have to do anything, we'll just get. So, yeah.
So, was it? Yeah, not tonight, but yesterday, I made a chicken salad, but apparently they ate grain.
What? Say that one more time.
I made a chicken salad, but apparently they eat grain.
I'm not.
They eat grain.
They eat grain. You may. Hey, see, a little slow on that one. What do you call?
Jesus, I failed so hard at that.
What?
Fuck, crash and burn.
You can't appreciate the good ones unless you get. So, what do you call a chicken schnitzel that's been in a drive-by shooting? Schnitty, schnitty, bang, bang. Yeah, throw some bad ones out there too.
Yeah, there was
Appreciate
a
the good
stretch
ones.
too. Yeah. Now we know why nobody watches this show.
More people should be watching the show because, like I said, man, how many other RC shows give you what we give you here? Emotional support, dad jokes.
I got
my cock.
my wife sitting here. I married her for her looks, but not the ones I've been getting recently. I tell you that.
Why can't tacos keep a secret? Because they tend to spill the beans.
Oh, shit. All right. Let's move on.
I mean, like you gotta appreciate the bad to really appreciate the good. See, hey, we got a chuckle out of propaganda. Yeah, I mean, there hasn't been much else going on in RC. I mean, I pretty religiously watch the Scale News update, and even Arlie seems to be kind of stretching a little bit right now, trying to find things.
It's that time of year. Doesn't everything kind of wind down?
Yeah. That does remind me though. Cross RC has a new flatbed tow truck.
Oh, I thought you were going to bring up the emo again.
No. They, you know how Traxxas had the flatbed tow truck, but it was just fixed. Cross, theirs will slide and tilt down.
Ooh.
It's actually functioning flatbed tow truck.
It's so nice that I don't want to scratch it. See, right now, propaganda is when you take all your pretty pictures. This is what I call the pretty picture time. So you go out and you take as many pretty pictures in different areas as you can, and then you go out and beat the shit out of it. So you can go back and be like, oh yeah, hey, look, where I was in the woods and I was at the creek, and oh, it looks so good there.
See, I have a secret that I've done throughout the entire time that
I don't have time for that. Who's got fucking time for that?
I've made my my videos, which is I always have a new body. I always have a new painted body, so I can take the rig out and beat the crap out of it, and then take the body off, put the new body on, take pictures of it, do close-ups on it, put the shitty body back on.
Wow, look at that cheating.
Yeah.
I like it.
It has to be done.
That's how you do it.
It's like, they
RC propaganda don't have no time for that. He's too busy. He's too busy watching that show and soldering for a half hour.
Which, did you know that most of the stunts they did on Dukes of Hazzard with General Lee was miniatures? They only actually jumped that car like 5 or 6 times the entire time they were filming that show. The rest of the time, it was always a freaking miniature.
I thought they had a bunch of those cars, though.
They had 6 or 7 of them during the filming, the entire filming. One of the screen-used stunt cars is in a museum in South Carolina that's like 3 hours from me.
Neat.
Yeah. I mean, for a basher, a spare body.
If you really wanted to look all shiny and new real quick, yeah, I suppose. That's a good way to do it.
Because, I mean, bashers go through Although they are doing a lot better. I know, especially like Arma and Traxxas both are putting the plastic rails on the top now, and they're sort of making it so that it looks kind of like it belongs there.
The movie, but the
Crashed a
TV
ton of cars.
series, they crashed a ton of cars. See, and I was wondering about that because I saw something where they had like a field of them fucking cars. Like there was like 10 or 20 of them sons of bitches out there all together.
Yeah, I just recently watched a thing where they were talking about they had a bunch of pictures and videos of like a whole bunch of miniature, like pictures from where they were doing all the miniature stuff with the cars, and I was like,
Probably where they learned it from was the TV series. We're tired of
dude,
crashing these fucking
Lions,
expensive
Sons of
cars.
Hollywood once again disappointing me. I thought all this crap was reality, like Star Wars. You know, when you're 8 years old and Star Wars comes out, you're like, oh my god.
You know, I just saw a movie where a truck pushes a car over a cliff, and I didn't realize that that was all just little models. I thought that that was actual cars when I saw the film, and I was like, oh hell, I've been fooled. It's just like watching, Sofa King shit or something. It's like you get, oh man, it's not what I thought it was.
Sophie King with the he found him a retro boat recently that I saw that was pretty freaking cool. It had a Jazz Products sticker on it, which Jazz hasn't been around for a while. And funny thing, I used to work at Jazz Products making gas tanks.
They don't really kill people in the movies.
I know, but I mean, come on, when you're a little kid.
What is it? What about that one guy who is like, yeah, it's not my fault that that gun was loaded and I shot that dude.
Oh, Alec Baldwin?
Yeah, what about the Alec Baldwin move? People do die in movies, Earl. They do.
Actually, you got a point there. Freaking Alec Baldwin. And you know what
What
the
about the
shitty
guy?
part is?
What about
They
the?
started they started back up filming that movie. Like you would think they would just fucking, all right, you know what? There's bad omen here.
We go back to the Crow. We go back to what that was Bruce Lee's kid or some shit.
Yeah, Brandon Lee.
And he got. I mean, look, he died. Yeah, no, people die. People really do die in the movies. They do. Just a little rare.
Yeah. Oh, hey, they have a new Fantastic Four movie coming out, and it's going to have the Silver Surfer in it again.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now, for everybody that isn't a Fantastic Four comic book fan or a comic book fan, Silver Surfer was pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
Silver Surfer even had his own cartoon, like in the mid '80s, which was pretty freaking awesome. Silver Surfer is also a dude who rides a surfboard. Except in the new Fantastic Four movie, where Silver Surfer is going to be a chick and gay. Really, Disney? This is what you're doing? Just Silver Surfer? How does Kathleen Kennedy still have a job? How does she still have a job? You ruined Star Wars. You ruined Marvel. Look, you can't even get people to go watch fucking Marvel movies in the theater at all.
Yeah, that'd be like, well,
Hey,
I might as well just tune into Operation 11 Charlie.
Hey, Earl probably remembers the freaking Twilight Zone movie. When they were filming the Twilight Zone movie, and when Vic Morrow and the two little kids got killed, they actually fought to try and keep that scene in the movie. And that, I mean, yeah, Mr. Brown, Disney is losing its ass. I saw somebody, it's sad. Somebody had a video, they were at Disney World, And it's coming up on Christmas. Disney usually decorates the crap out of their parks, and it's sad. They're not even decorating the parks the way they used to.
Huh.
And it was empty.
I got like one spotlight here in the studio tonight.
I only have the one light. It's basically kind of almost up over my head.
It's a little
But
bright for me.
points up with
I
it.
got it like on me so you can see me.
I'm very shiny tonight.
Yeah,
With my light. I'm getting off.
I'm extremely white.
I got this like whole glow thing going on right here. Yeah, I don't. There's a Willy Wonka movie coming out,
Yeah, I saw that.
like young Willy Wonka.
I've been using a ring light. That shit looks good. CRC propaganda, he knows. He been on the OnlyFans.
I have a ring light. It's
Get the ring lights.
actually back there. But I found that it is so bright, and because I wear glasses, now you can see I have a problem with the glare.
Right, you can see the ring light. Yeah.
Yeah,
You can see the-
but it comes through so strong. It's so strong that it's like blinding coming off of my glasses.
I only showed the
So-
beehole pics. There you go. That's the way to do it.
Nice. What was that? Wow, man, what was his name? Mike Honcho. RC Propaganda is Mike Honcho. Tell me you've seen Talladega Nights.
That's great. That's great.
I did a whole spread for Playgirl, girl, man. The whole deal, man. Spread my butt cheeks and everything.
Everything. Hey, you got to do what you got to do, you know?
The great part is that guy has been in, I forgot that he was in Days of Thunder.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
The what was it? Harry's previous driver that had died. That guy played his son, who then became like Cole's like mechanic guy. If you haven't seen Days of Thunder recently,
Go back and watch it.
It's enjoyable.
Still kicks ass.
For as wacky as Tom Cruise is, the guy makes a good movie. I haven't seen the latest Mission Impossible, but I have seen the scene where he jumps off the cliff on the motorcycle with a parachute. Jumps off, drops the thing, and did his own stunt and that. Pretty.
You just remind me of that new, what is it, that new James Bond movie where he's got the gray hair? What's that called? No Time to Die?
It's hard for me to keep up with James Bond.
Did you not catch No Time to Die?
I thought that was the actual name of one of them. It actually might be No Time to Die. Gray-haired James Bond. You know the next James Bond's going to be a chick, right?
A lesbian chick.
You think I'm joking? The last James Bond movie that Daniel Craig did, at the end of the movie, well, throughout parts of the movie, she appears. But at the end of the movie, he's in with M, and this gal walks in, and she's basically seeing Daniel Craig is retiring. He's not James Bond anymore. And this chick walks in, and she calls her James Bond.
If people make you sick, you should cook them a little longer. That's all I got.
Oh man, that was solid right there. That one is solid. Do you know where hamburgers go dancing? Meatballs.
Nice.
Do you know where average things are manufactured? The Satisfactory.
Not yet. Oh yeah. Yeah. Down by Sinspirations.
Do you know the reason why Tom Cruise is one of the only actors that still does his own stunts? And it's not a dad joke. It's actually
I got a
he
random
carried.
car alarm going off. I don't know.
Well, somebody's got to do it. He is the only one that will carry his own insurance binder. So if you're going to be a stuntman for a movie, they have to get insurance, obviously, just in case something happens to you. Now, if you're a big time actor that they pay, $20 million to do a movie for, they don't want you risking your life. Because they got to take out insurance policy on everybody that's working at their job, and they don't want somebody to die that's worth that much money.
Right.
Tom Cruise, fairly insistent on doing some of his own stunts because it's the only way that it, provides that continuity in the film. And he insists. So he will literally pay his own insurance binder for a movie so that he can pick the stunts that he wants to do.
Nice.
And some of the shit he's done in the Mission Impossible movies has been pretty friggin' spectacular. When he was climbing on the Burj Khalifa building, like freaking 100 stories off ground, and he's out there with suction cups on the glass. He was actually on the side of the building with suction cups, climbing on the side of the building. Freaking maniac.
Yeah, about 2 foot off the ground. But
no,
I'm just
they were actually that high off the ground. It was the only way they could get the shot to look right. Like, dude, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care if you did in front of a green screen. You're Tom freaking Cruise. You don't need to be hanging off the side of a building or launching yourself off a cliff on a motorcycle with a parachute. Everybody will understand. You know, it's another great movie to go back and watch.
What's that?
Matrix. If you haven't watched the first one, the second two, but the first one's pretty awesome. You kind of got to push aside that some of the CGI isn't that great. It was great back then, but it's not per today's standards. Not that great. But what a great movie to watch. It's kind of entertaining all the way through because they just kept going. Ba-bam, 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 ba-bam. They kept hitting you with more stuff, and it kept the movie just going. It's a good movie. Fan of that. Another great movie to watch is freaking Megamind. If you've never watched Megamind,
oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's a Disney movie, right?
It's freaking hilarious. There are so many inside jokes in that movie that it's great because it's the anti superhero villain movie, so it's great.
Dude, I just what is it, Dumb and Dumber? I think. It's probably that's a great one to go back and hit again.
I mean, Jim Carrey.
Who thinks he's not Jim Carrey anymore? You've heard about that, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jim Carrey lost his mind. He lost his mind when he made the movie about Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
All of that. He lost his mind. He went, he went good.
What is that? You never go full retard?
Yep.
Is that how?
Gotta go, guys. Hey, Cape Cod, take care, man. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy.
Yep. Enjoy Turkey Day.
Yeah, man. I mean, Jim Carrey on In Living Color. That In Living Color in general. If you can find, the seasons of In Living Color, that show was fantastic. The Wayans brothers know comedy. And they were the first ones that kind of made fun of black people the way they do. But yeah, Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura. I loved Ace Ventura. Both of those movies were just fantastic. The Mask was kind Mask was kind of creepy because he was trying too hard.
Pet Detective. Yeah. The original Pet Detective too, where he's just kind of his hokey self. Yeah. Yep. It's good stuff. I mean, like I said, him going crazy, and yeah, I remember him. I remember a documentary or something, and I remember watching the Andy Kaufman thing, and he like went full Andy Kaufman. Is like he went into the role and like one like I'm Andy Kaufman,
and he lost his shit there.
I don't think he ever came back. Like
he never came back. Like he's like doing paintings and shit and selling them now. Now Jim Carrey's got plenty of money. He's not, he's not poor or anything, but yeah, he's got like his own like paint studio where he paints like weird shit. He's not like doing fruit bowls and shit. He does like weird modern art shit.
Maybe he is totally done with the comedy. Maybe that was just, maybe that.
Like I saw the last time I saw him doing anything like publicly was the thing that Jerry Seinfeld does, the comedians in cars getting coffee.
Oh yeah.
And he went and he did one with Jim Carrey, and like he's in this diner, and like Jim Carrey goes on a fucking tangent, and it's like 5 minutes where he's just rambling about some weird shit, and even Jerry Seinfeld's sitting there like, fucking Jim Carrey's gone. Boo, he's gone. Lost his freaking mind. Dude is out of it. But it's kind of sad because Jim Carrey was free. Fire Marshal Bill, come on.
Oh yeah.
Fire Marshal Bill was that's side.
Oh no, Mr. Bill.
Oh man, and yeah, that Jimmy Tango's Fat Burners was a skit that he did on In Living Color. And he was like one of those infomercial guys, and he did this, fat burning thing. And his fat burning thing was basically like doing a whole bunch of crack. And he was Jim Carrey on crack. Was basically the character. And you can YouTube that and watch the segment. It's like maybe 5 or 6 minutes long. That bit that he did, I still piss myself laughing watching that. It's that funny.
That's
because he gets into the, I don't know if you've ever heard of the movie Scanners.
Yes, I've heard of it.
So there was a whole bit in there where he's all loaded out on crack, and one of the people in the audience has been on his fat burner thing, and she says something to him, and he's like, "Oh, nice try, novice. Scan me," and then her head explodes. It's kind of dark, but it's freaking Jimmy Tango's Fat Burners. I guarantee you will laugh your ass off. It's classic Jim Carrey. It's sad.
Yeah.
That's one of those actor comedians that, like, it's sad that they're still with us, but they're gone.
Was that like Bruce Willis? Apparently Bruce Willis can't talk.
He can, but he's getting slow, and it's almost like he's losing his awareness of what's going on around him. It's almost like dementia.
Oh boy.
I mean, yes, it's what he has is some form of dementia. So he's kind of losing his surroundings and his awareness of surroundings. So he's kind of turning into Joe Biden, which is, yeah, I mean, yippee-ki-yay. Damn, that guy.
I'll see you at the party.
Yeah. Yeah. It sucks that people, it sucks that we're getting to that. Well, I'm getting to that point in my life where I'm starting to see like the people and the characters that I grew up with are they're not around anymore. We're losing some of them, and it's like, oh God, man, that freaking sucks. Like, I can remember when Captain Kangaroo died. That was kind of a shitty deal.
Right.
Because I grew up watching Captain Kangaroo.
Oh yeah.
And when he died, Mr. Rogers. I remember when Mr. Rogers died, and that freaking sucked because I grew up watching Mr. Rogers. But yeah, watching somebody that is as young as Bruce Willis is going through that's kind of scary.
Yeah, when I'm really depressed like that, propaganda, I just Google your booty hole pictures. Look, there's a never-ending black hole. That's
God. Oh man.
Sorry.
RC Propaganda. He's going to go the route of NorCal, and he's going to change his name to the RC Propaganda, RC Mike Honcho Propaganda.
There you go.
Oh, I love John Wayne movies. I grew up, my mom's a big old movie buff, and I grew up watching old black and white movies. And John Wayne, I don't remember. I don't think John Wayne was alive. He was alive when I was young, but I don't remember when he died. Just like I don't remember when Elvis died, because I was too young at the time to realize who Elvis was.
On the commode.
I'm a big Elvis fan. I love Elvis. King.
Oh, he's on the throne.
Greatest performer to ever take the stage.
Anyways.
Anywho.
Do this, but I got to shut down the studio.
I got to shut down as well. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. I got to get in and help make sweet potatoes and probably continue on with some turkey prep going on in there. So, hey, everybody, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you all for coming. All the people who watch the after show, thank you for watching the show. We really appreciate it. Hope you all have a wonderful, happy Thanksgiving, doing whatever you do on Thanksgiving, football, turkey, the whole ball of wax. Have fun, have a fun long weekend, and enjoy yourselves, guys. Thank you, Propaganda. Thank you, Mr. Brown, Cape Cod, Thompson, NorCal, Earl, all you guys. Jesse, thank you. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next Thursday.
Wednesday.